Temurah Daf Yud Gimel. Says the Mishnah, the whole concept of Temurah only applies to an animal. That is, if I have an animal that's Hegdish and I have another animal that's Chulin, I can't say that the animal of Chulin should be like the animal of Hegdish. But if I have a bird that's Hegdish, and I want to take another bird and say my Chulin bird should be like my Hegdish bird, it's not going to work. It's not Temurah. And the same thing with a Mincha. It doesn't apply. When the Torah says Lo Yomir in a singular form, it comes to tell us that the concept of Temurah only applies to an individual and not to a communal carbon and not to an animal that has a partnership. When the Torah says carbon, it's referring to a carbon that goes on the Mizbeach and not an animal that's owned by the Beis Hamikdash for Bedek HaBayis. Although the Torah uses the word carbon even for Bedek HaBayis, but that's carbon Hashem, and we're looking for carbon Lashem. According to Rabbi Shimon, that it is considered a carbon of Bedek HaBayis, Rabbi Shimon learns to exclude a carbon tzibur from the fact that we learn from Meiser Behema. Meiser Behema is for individual only, and for the Mizbeach, so too all Temurahs have to be Yachid and for the Mizbeach. The Torah repeats the entire parish of Temurah. First it says it by all Karbanis, then the Torah repeats it by Meiser Behema. Why is that? Well, according to Rebbe, there's a big chiddush by Meiser Behema, and that is, in addition to Temurah's Gufay, which we have by all Karbanis, where you take the actual carbon and you say this animal should be Temurah for this animal, we have something called Temurah's Shmoi. Just by calling Meiser, when the animals go out of the gate, and you call number 9 number 10 by mistake, or you call number 11 number 10, that itself creates a Kedusha. And what is the difference between the two Kedushas? Kedusha's Temurah's Gufay and Temurah's Shmoi. There's 3 differences. Difference number 1 is that when you make the mistake and you call it Temurah Shema, you call number 11, you call number 10, you could actually bring that on the Mizbeach as a Shlamim. Whereas a Meiser Behema Temurah, you cannot bring on the Mizbeach, like we said, by Bechar and Meiser Behema, those are the 2 exceptions. Number 2 is that when you have a Temurah Shema, you can redeem it when it has a mum. Whereas Temurah's Gufay of Meiser Behema, you cannot redeem with a mum, you just eat it with the mum. And finally, when you have Temurah Shmai, as the animal is going out of the gate and you say number 11, by mistake you call it number 10, you have to make sure that that animal coming out of the gate is a perfect animal, a healthy animal without a mum. Whereas Temurah's Gufay could be also an animal that has a mum, like we say, Ra means an animal with a mum. Rabbi Shimon says the reason the Torah repeated itself is to tell us that all Karbanos have to be similar to Meiser Behema. Just like Meiser Behema is Yachid and Mizbeach and Davar Shebechayva, meaning it has to be obligatory. Even in a situation where a person had an adava is considered obligatory because a person was mechayiv himself to that animal, then you can do Temurah on it. However, a case of oila min ha-moisros, you have an extra oila that wasn't given as an oila, just sitting around and you're going to bring it as a carbon, according to Rabbi Shimon, that's considered oilas yachid, and therefore it should be in the category of Temurah. In this case, it's not in the category of Temurah. According to Rabbi Eliezer, you could do Temurah with oilas moisros. And finally, for today, we had a beautiful kasha, and the Gemara remained in Teiku Rabbi Oven 3-4 days ago. And now the Gemara says it's a little bit different than what we thought. It's even more interesting. And it goes as follows. If you can find the Manda Omar that holds that you can't do Temurah more than once to any individual animal, and you can also find the Manda Omar that holds like Rabbi Eliezer, that moisros do create Temurah, an extra animal does create Temurah. So now we have a question, 2 questions. What happens if you have an animal that was an Asham, and later on this Asham ran away, so you brought another Asham, and then you found the original, so now that Asham turned into an Oila, and this is moisros Oila. According to the Manda Omar, you could only do Temurah once per animal, but perhaps over here you did once on the Asham, maybe you could do the second time on the same animal on the Oila, because now it's a different animal, Kilu, because it has a name Oila. And the second question is, what if you have an Asham, and the Asham, you did Temurah on it, and then the Asham had a mum, so you had to replace it with another Asham, you did Pidyon, and you had another carbon, a second animal. But perhaps the second animal gets its Kedusha from the first animal. So maybe the second animal is considered as if you already did Temurah to it, and you can't do Temurah again, or perhaps you could do Temurah, and the Gemara remains with the Teiku, and with that we finish Perek Hakol Mamirim. Be'ezer Hashem, I will be traveling for the summer vacation, and I will make my utmost effort to continue with these shiurim. But please forgive me in advance if I'm missing one or two shiurim here and there. Have a wonderful day.